Audio check. Visual check. Yeah, I think we're live. So over the past weeks, I've been working on a big rewrite of Six UI. Oh, you can't hear me? Yeah, give me a sec, guys. Sorry. Okay. About now. Can't hear me. Add 40% more. I don't think I have some gain I can crank up. Hold on. Okay, what about now? Is that too loud? I'm looking at my levels and I'm hitting right underneath of okay. Now. Test, 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 test. Good. Okay, it's been a minute since I've oh, actually, you know what might be? What is up, Lake? I'm not dead. I'm very much alive. But I haven't streamed in a while, so clearly I accidentally probably turned down the gain of my mix amp. So I've been working over the past, let's see how many weeks now, a couple weeks. All right, get up, get out of here. Since April 16th, I've been working on the rewrite of Bits UI in Svelte 5. And for Svelte 5, we're going to be not depending on melt. So I've been pretty much rewriting it from scratch. And we have a lot of components already done. So the stream will be super exciting because I'm just going to be working on the date field and perfecting it, which I've decided to add some UX enhancements to. So if we look at the current date field with Bits UI, there are some issues with it. One being that leading zeros, I'm pressing 0 right now on my keyboard, we can't see that. So to somebody who isn't a power user, for example, if my mom was on this form and was pressing 0 because she thinks she has to enter month, and it doesn't respond, she might think it's broken before she just tries pressing another number to see that it does work. Same thing with days. And then of course, years as well. Like if I just want to do year 19, technically since the placeholder is showing 4 Ys, it should have 4 digits or 4 characters. So in the Svelte 5 version, I've been working on just that. And you'll see it looks a bit uglier because I've added some extra things to it. But if we clear this thing out, let's just start anew. What's up, Rizvan? Hello, everybody. Arjun, thank you. I'm glad I could be of help for you. Also, what's up, Carlos? What's up, Lake? And Safadine. Is this font size okay for you all? I hope so. Hey, what's going on here? All right. Okay, so now we can do 0, 4, 0, 9, 2024. And then we can also backspace, knock a character off. Of course, if you have a 0 at the beginning, it's just going to knock it off entirely. I'm not sure if that's expected or not, but technically speaking, you only have one character there. So I guess... Oh yeah, Robbie, or Roby. Does the AM respond to values above 12? Yeah, because I'm in America, so we don't do, actually, okay, you just found a bug, it seems like. Well, let me just finish filling the date first. Yeah, that's what I'm working on today. I'm trying to perfect this, get this thing working. Well, so when you go to 12 p.m., see, technically there's such thing as 12 a.m. here in America where we do things differently. And that's obviously where my locale is set up to right now. So what's happening though is that under the hood, the AM PM thing is tricky because we rely heavily on international date time formatter. So if I just go to the svelte REPL real quick, or what is it, svelte.dev REPL, and we can do something like formatter date time format, and then I put in my locale here. Might be a bit too zoomed in there for you all. And then if I had a date, so like as you can see, that's where, you know, under the hood we're actually formatting this with the international date time format. That's how it has such great localization support and stuff. But the problem is that when you're in America, we don't use a bleeding 0 for months and days. So if I change this to E and UK, we can see it does in fact have 06. It also flips the month and days. But they have options here that we can customize, like the sizing, like how it's rendered, so the date style, as well as each individual property of the date. And so we have kind of a custom formatter here that breaks it up into individual parts based on the actual date, and then gives us those parts back, which we then in Svelte 5 date field demo, we'll then iterate over like this. So, but the tricky part is that technically speaking, when we initialize the state, right? So AM and PM, there's no time. So if I move this AM PM, it theoretically shouldn't actually populate this until there's actually a time populated. So that's one bug that we have to address. Yeah, I'm super excited for this rewrite. There's a lot of bug fixes. I think I've tallied a couple of them here, but there's probably more that I missed. But I mean, this is going to close all these issues, which is pretty nuts. Okay. So let's first add a test case for that situation there with the AM/PM. So I'm trying to think. I guess we can just disable it until there's actually a date populated, because how these date fields work is, like, technically speaking, there's no value. We can actually demonstrate this. Yes, technically there's no value until we actually finish populating the date to the granularity. So if we just render this value somewhere, and as I'm going and filling it out, right, there's not actually a value there. We're basically updating like a shadow or a ghost value until we finish populating it. However, it seems like when we adjust AM or PM, it wants to fill in the hour. And most of this code I wrote for Melt UI, I've kind of just moved it over here. So we're still kind of doing some things that resemble stores in a sense. But once I get this thing working, then I'm going to reassess and determine what parts I can move around and whatnot. But the AM PM stuff, should be in here. This logic is very, very messy. This is actually, believe it or not, this little date field is 2,000 lines of code plus a bunch of other helpers that are shared between the calendar, range pickers, all that stuff as well that are in other files. Okay, so here's where we're handling this, right? Because here's the thing. Okay, so that date value object, I want to say it doesn't care about, I think it'll still, like if it's 3 p.m., it's going to be 1500. We can actually test this out right now. Let's just see. Yeah, so the underlying date object is 1500. Okay, so for us to display it to the user, we get, you know, the true date, the true hour, and subtract or add 12 depending on whether it's AM or PM. There's 41 of you watching. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Holy shit. Okay, so my question is, why the hell does the 12 populate there? And I think I know why. Okay, so the hour becomes 0. Let me flip it to AM. Day period, state. What's up, B1? What's up, Sheldon? Oh, okay. Because we're getting the placeholder value. So in reality, I think all we have to do... Let's just see something. Leonardo DiCaprio, I wish. Thanks, Mike. Okay. So this is a bug that actually exists in Melt today, and I want to solve it for this because so we have we have what we refer to as a placeholder value. And if those of you who have used bits in Melt, you probably are aware of this if you use the date time components. And that thing basically just keeps track of like wherever the date field is going to start at when there's no value. It doesn't necessarily mean what is going to populate, but like where does it start? So if I refresh the page and I up the year by 1 using the arrow key up, it starts at this year. Same thing with the day, same thing with the month. And the calendar works the same way, where you'll open the calendar and it's this month. And so we have the placeholder value, right? And so that's what we use to determine, like, to update this. Because if there is a value, the placeholder value and the value are always in sync. Okay, so when there's a value populated, the placeholder stays in sync until the value becomes undefined, then the placeholder reverts back to what it was before. Now, since we're getting the placeholder value, like, part of me thinks you shouldn't be able to change this until you actually have a time put in, right? So until your data is basically fully populated, I'm just wondering if that's expected behavior. So if I keep it this form and I'm filling it out, now this works, right? So when I flip between AM and PM, you'll see like under the hood, it's actually going to 23 and 11. That's what I want. Problem is when it happens before the time is populated. But again, I don't really know why someone would populate this before they actually populate the time. So part of me thinks that that would be okay, maybe. Yeah, unfortunately, Roby, so this thing is internationalized. So everything is coming from like a datetime formatter, right? So that's how we can flip the locale to whatever we want. It's I guess it's better. It's easier to read in the. I guess we can do what is it, GE? What's no, it's DE, right? That's Germany. Yeah, so you can see here that it actually localizes it to whatever standard for that time, for that area. So they don't use AM PM here. So it's automatically going to flip it into 24-hour time. Which is nice. But it's just Americans we have to deal with. Why are we so difficult? Okay, I want to say this should maybe work. Let me get this off of here. Okay, so now when I try to update AM PM, it doesn't actually work. That's pretty much what this is. Well, it's pretty close to what this is, Sheldon. It actually follows, I'm pretty sure it follows the same APIs. All right, it fixed a lot of the same things. Yeah, so temporal proposal is eventually going to address this, and it's heavily inspired by it. And so the goal, I guess, for this project is to be like under the hood is going to be powered by the temporal API, just a little bit friendlier interfaces here. But that's pretty much what this is. I think when I looked at the source code, they were doing some polyfilling. Did the time on the locale DE not get 0 padded either? Yeah, I haven't got to the time padding, I don't think. So if I flip even back to like US, like if I do 0.8, it's just going to do 8. So I still have to do that part. But the logic should be the same. Kind of. It's very, very similar. It's very, very similar to this. The awesome thing is that, again, they have, yeah, there's zone date times, which we have. We also have, they have calendar date and they have calendar date time. So calendar date is just calendar date with no time. Calendar date time is a calendar date with time, no time zone. Then you have zone date time, which is calendar date, time, time zone. Yeah, it's very similar API. And I love it. Literally, I don't know if I would have been able to build this out without that project. Would there be a common charts? Mike, we'll see. I know that Shad has been talking about, I don't know if he's done it yet or not with, yeah, no, none yet, but I know he's working on some. So I will have to. We'll probably use chart.js. Been using it for a project and it's pretty good. We'll see though. Okay. So this works. I'm trying to think about if it makes sense or not. Adrian, I know you're in the chat, or I hope you are. Will you provide some insights here on this? What are you mad about? Yeah, again, I think it makes sense for this not to work until you actually do something with it. I guess my only confusion is here, like when it's in a partial state. I don't know. I might be, oh yeah, we also added this, guys. So in the other version, you cannot backspace and go back to the previous part. What's up, Ryan? Long time no see indeed. I recorded a video this week and then I deleted it because I didn't like it. I'd like to make videos. I just have a hard time right now. I'm in a creative slump. Plus, I just have so much to do in these projects that like I can't catch a break. Okay, so this works for now. I don't think we need a date. Our setup function, are we putting a date in by default? No, we're not. Nice. Day period. We need to set the granularity actually of this to second is fine. Then we also have hour. So the problem with this is it's going to use the current time. So and this uses a special symbol here, of course. So I'm gonna have to oh, of course. I think it's this figure dash. I don't really remember. Hold on. We'll copy it either way. I think they're different projects, Sergio. Different projects. Hey, Adam, thank you. If you're talking about style beauty, that is not me. Okay, I'm being an idiot here. Let me just stop being challenged. Because what's happening right now, so get by test ID, it throws in vtest or with testing library, it throws if it can't find it. Okay, there's query by test ID, which again queries it, so you get HTML element or null. So the problem here is I have this little fancy helper function set up to go and get all of these because they're not always there. These are only rendered, specifically the time zone is only rendered when I'm using a zone date time, right? Right now, I don't want to use that. I just want to use regular date time. And since time zone name doesn't exist, it's throwing an error. So part of me thinks that I should just update this to, instead of doing this, just have it be a function that gets it. That way it doesn't get invoked. It's going to break some stuff here. Whoops. Yeah, I would say, Mike, I think the biggest thing is like the composition is the big difference there. Like one just does a lot more for you, so some people prefer that. Um, like some people don't like to have to try to construct all the different parts, but it's undeniably more flexible, right? It's just a matter of, um, you know, oh, why did I decide to do this right here? You guys are gonna have to watch me do some tedious things. Yo, what's up, Ben? Uh, you're right. I could actually. I actually have a shortcut set up for that too. I wasn't, because I have to invoke them all too. So it's just gonna do this, which is kind of annoying, but I guess it's gonna allow me to move a bit faster here. Yo, Mike, I appreciate that. From Mr. L's chats, David swear out how to use Bits UI. As child thing is not pretty clear. What if you wanted to use it for? I guess because like you may not even need to use it. That's like the thing is like it's there. Like, if you need to use it, it becomes more clear in Svelte 5. So with Svelte 5, it's going to look a bit different. Unfortunately, it's a bit more verbose because we lose slot props. But I think it's more explicit and we get better types. Okay, we're almost cleaned up here, guys. It's one of the joys of code. Okay, did we do it? I probably forgot to invoke it somewhere. I imagine I probably did, and we'll find out here in a second. Okay, so it expected this and it received this. This is what we were expecting, which is fine. I wanted to copy that symbol anyways. What up, Ollie? With the As Child thing? Is that what you're referring to? Okay. Expected this. I'm giving you what you expect. It's going to give me a hard time because of this special symbol. Oh, wait. No, it received that. Whoops. So it is, I guess, just 2 dashes. Yeah. So that makes sense, Robbie. There, that's when it's good. With Svelte 5, it's going to look something like this. So, So like, let's say you wanted to ask how the trigger. So what's interesting, so we went with the child snippet, right? So snippet child, and then you get the props here. However, you're going to see it's going to yell at me if I try to, what we don't have a Svelte for right now is like type safety when it comes to when do I use this snippet versus when do I use that snippet. So here, the error message is kind of vague. I think Adrian will be able to help me with, he has some cool TypeScript tricks that you can get it to like show an error message whenever something is incorrect by doing like a template string type. But asChild is missing here. So you can't use child without asChild. So if we do asChild, now we have this. Right now, I just have them all typed as record string unknown. However, I do plan to explicitly type them all before the release. Now, what's also cool is that if we have asChild here and we try to just render children, we're going to get a message. This is what I want to improve the error message of. Like true is not assignable to type undefined, because asChild is true when there's a child. Otherwise, it's never. I'm very deep, Ollie. I have probably like 8 components left, maybe 7. I have to do a bunch of housekeeping stuff, like get rid of a lot of code from the Svelte 4 version, and then obviously add a bit more tests, clean up some of the exports and stuff. Yeah, I mean, we have a lot done. You got to think, so the date ones, these will be really, once I get the date field and the calendar done, the rest of them kind of fall into place, right? Because the range field is just 2 date fields combined, you know, with the start and end date. The date picker is just date field, popover, and calendar all combined. Same thing with the range picker and the range calendar. So all those are relatively same. We also have a pin input. I'm not sure if you all saw this or not, but if you lurk inside of the PRs, you would see. But I really need to add search to the docs too. So this might look familiar to you all. So of course, this thing is derived from input OTP. That's all working fine and dandy. Yes, that's how asChild's gonna work. We explored a couple different ideas, like one of which was like binding to the props, like binding to a child or something like that. But it was just, I didn't like the way it flowed, because you could be, you know, way deep down into a component you want to use asChild with. You have to come back to the top, declare a state, bind it, receive the props. Yeah, so the shad migration, yeah, we'll definitely want help with that. What's up, Demetrius? Yeah, we will definitely want assistance with the shad migration. But first things first is this, because we do have some breaking API changes. Like we have some different props, different structures of stuff, things that are just better now. Everything's clear. Hindsight is 2020, right? So also the select is different. Now I'm still trying to figure out how the hell to do the combo box. But the select has been entirely reworked. So select now under the hood renders an actual select. And the code for this is of course like this. I guess I can just pull it up in the code editor. So these are just a bunch of themes I'm rendering. But you can see how the select works. But it's just so what we've decided is to go with just a string value. Just like a normal select, string value. If you want to, I guess, select something more complex, like an object or something else, or a component even, then you can use like the onValue change function, which would go to the root. I don't know why I'm down there. OnValue change. And then I would just set some state here. So if the state, if I was looking for, I don't know, deep purple, and I wanted to bind some other variable to a massive JSON object with the entire theme, I could do that still. But it makes things much cleaner internally when we don't have to deal with any arbitrary type. And we also don't have to do the selected label and value, like object. Yeah, this is the select here. It's not actually a select, but there is one being rendered. So if we look at the DOM here, actually, hold on, where's it at? I'm so zoomed in, it's hard for me to navigate around here. So I'm not sure if any of you have ran into this or not. Let me find it. Why am I being stupid? Oh wait, I'm not within a form. So it's intelligent. If you're within a form, watch it not actually render the select now. I'm just talking out my ass. Yeah, so here it is. And what's cool about this is that that select doesn't get portaled to the body like the rest of the content does, right? So here's the actual, what appears to be the select. And I'm not sure if you all have ran into this before, but what's annoying as hell is that when you had a select inside of a, I don't know, when you were portaling the select, technically that select leaves your form. So to the browser, that select is not a part of that form. So you would have to just like bind to an input outside of it, make sure that input doesn't get portaled with the select. Now it just renders the select. We also have, like, we can search, like here if I do svelte, well, svelte orange or punk pink. It's another one, light. Uh-oh. I think I found a bug. Okay, well, I guess we can look into that too, right? While we're here. Okay, that's really weird. Oh, I think I know why that is. Watch, if we remove this. See, if I can't be streaming because I'm just get distracted off on these tangents. Now I need to go fix the select. So wait a second, hold on. So here's the native select here. You can see here that we basically are rendering out each one of these for this set. Whenever the select is first rendered, it basically renders itself inside of a document fragment that you can't see. So all of your items, that's how I can find them without them actually being rendered. So they're behind a conditional. If we look at, well, the content here has what we refer to as presence, which basically allows us to use CSS transitions with svelte conditionals. But basically, if the select is open, it's going to render it inside of the normal select menu. If not, it portals it to a document fragment so they can then reference that fragment to find all of the item values. But my question is, why the hell is it populating more than one whenever I'm What's even weirder though is that like I click. Did I lose you all? Hold on a second, I lost audio here. Oh, you hear me but no music? Okay, we're good now? I don't know what the hell just happened. So what's interesting is when I click this, as soon as I click it again, it shoots it to the value place again. Oh, it's also connected to my iPad. That's why Bluetooth headsets are kind of annoying sometimes. Why is that happening? You know what that is? That's a side effect. Oh. Like, it depends. I would say avoid using it. Yeah, this is Bose headphones, Ollie. Depends. You shouldn't default to it. You should try to use Derive where you can. Again, it's good at what it does, but this is like one of the cons of it, right? Is that we have another effect or something triggering when something else happens that is normally okay. But now in this specific situation, we have a form, it breaks. Oh yeah, well, you're probably setting state in there. It shouldn't be like React. You shouldn't treat it like React's effect at all. I do have to do that occasionally. Like sometimes it's unavoidable to set state instead of an effect, but Okay, so there we go. We got a duplicate key each block. That's going to be in our root. Which, oh wait, no. Yeah. That shouldn't be true though. That should not be true. Because the values have to be unique. And this is a set. Yeah, key's just the value. I have it there. That actually concerns me though, because that makes me think that yep. Uh-oh. You guys know what they call that? What do they call this one? Pop quiz. Any takers? It's a memory leak. Yeah. It's not clean. It shouldn't be doing that. Yeah. It shouldn't be, but these are the exact same thing though. So in my head, when I push them into a set, like that shouldn't be, shouldn't it replace them? You're right. You are right about that one. Because object A is not equal to object B. Yeah, it's because they're objects. Yeah. Okay, so I'm trying to think about how we want to do this then. I guess we could maybe do. I'm trying to think about how we want to handle this without doing what I just did, which is have a memory leak. That's why I used a set here, but wasn't thinking about the object. Prize and use memo. Okay. I mean, I guess I can just give each one like an ID and then remove it when it gets destroyed, right? Trying to think here. So we open it up, right? We have X, get the values. What I don't want to do is go and check every single item in that damn array for a match. So part of me thinks maybe we just have, this could be, these selects could be massive, right? You could have 1,000 options potentially if you wanted. But this thing does have to be reactive because maybe you push into an array that you're using to render those options. And we want this to up it, right? Yeah, I could use a map as well. That might actually not be a bad idea. And then just updating that specific value. what is it, dot values? Let's find out, guys, if we're good here. Okay, that's kind of what I was expecting was going to happen. Yeah, that's where I'm. They have a helper, yeah. Oh, that's what I'm using right now. So my derived actually derives from it. So I'm using map and set, where I was from. Okay. Now my question is, so what's happening right now is basically we have these native options, right? They both share the same like select item text component. Okay, so when we add one of them, so in this case here, we have them, they're mounted into that document fragment, so they register themselves. However, when these are destroyed, which happens whenever we open the menu, because the actual items that you see here now become like the source of truth in a sense, right? These ones are adding themselves, but then when the other ones get destroyed, they remove themselves, which then removes this from this set, which is kind of why I was liking the idea of just being able to like push to a set. Oh yeah, no map and mount still works in Svelte 5, but it is getting rewritten as well with a different API, slightly different API, support runes. But I want to say this is okay though. I have tests. Um, What's up, Manuel? Good to see you. Yeah, it does, Ollie. We have some in Ruined. Thomas set up. What's it called? It's called like test with effect. Yeah. So all of these are, most of these being tested with that. Roby, ever managed to run a debugger? No, actually I haven't ran like a step-by-step debugger like that. I usually just go through the stack trace and just wait a second. Oh. Okay. Well, actually, why are you not going away? Oh, I think I know what's happening. See what flaky tests just trigger me sometimes. Because like here I click something, it goes away, right? I bet if I click it twice though, in here it'll work. Makes no sense. I shouldn't have to do that. Oh, I know what's happening, I think. I lied, I have no clue. But in reality, I don't have to double click. That's what's like frustrating about tests sometimes, is that because it's not actually using the hell is this? So we're listing like pointer up events on this select. And that's so that you can do this fancy stuff. Like I can hold click, drag. I haven't let up on the cursor yet. And I let go. It's a highly requested feature in, no, I'm not using Vim motions. I'm not. I just use the keyboard like a caveman. I don't type. I'm not a home row typer, so I can't, like Vim just doesn't make sense to me based on where I have my position, my fingers positioned. It actually will probably slow me down. Do you sorry if I missed any messages here. I don't think I did. What was I doing? Looking for a pointer. Can't ever remember the actual API for this. I'm sleeping here because it just sometimes takes a second for it to actually register. Whoops. Try this out. Are you shitting me right now? Still nothing. Okay, very well then, guys. I guess we are SOL here on this one. But if I press a key, it works. See, that's the kind of stuff about testing library that kind of drives me mad a little bit. Because it really does make me self-conscious about the, like, why does it think I need to click twice? Does it not register the first click? So, I don't know, but It is, in fact. So now we've changed this to 1. Now we should expect. Should have this 1. We may have to requery this because, yeah. I think it's. Okay. Yeah, the select does render. It's not it's the content itself. I'm expecting the content to be null because I click on the item, so it should go away. It should actually get out. It should go away from the DOM. Actually, hold on. Oh, I'm giving up on you for now. All I wanted to make sure was that we are still keeping the value in sync with the selected value on the actual underlying selected render when we have a form. Okay, so this is fine. I want to test this as well. Wait, am I tripping right now? I'm literally having a damn. Oh, I just passed the whole ass form in there. Okay. I was about to say, what the hell am I thinking right now? Shut up, TypeScript. Okay, now we should be able to pass a mock function to this, and we can check what it gets called with. I guess I was giving a name test. That's fine. We'll test that prop too. I actually need to pass that prop. What are we gonna need? We need this, and then trigger, await, user.click. Actually, I'm gonna do now this should give us an arrow down, should put us in the first. I should give us 1, I think. So I focus it, arrow down, first one, enter, okay. And then in that case, we can click on the submit button. And then we'll expect onSubmit to have been called with. I think get just gets the value, so it should just be 1. Nice, first try. Okay, let's go down twice. Now it's going to expect it to have been called with. I don't know why it thinks. It should be 2, I think, still. Yep. Not this time, Copilot. I know my code better than you do. Okay, cool. So we know that's working. It's actually submitting with the form data. We verified that by setting up a dummy function. I don't think it's actually called a mock because they actually have vi.mock. This mock's like an actual module, whereas vi.fn is like a dummy function. But what's cool is that you can check what it's been called with, which is really nice. You can also spy on stuff as well. For those of you who are interested in the CIA. Yeah, I like this. Doing this is cool. Okay, where were we again? Before we got down the select rabbit hole, we were doing the date field. See, guys, this is why I can't stream. Just get sidetracked. But I'm glad we did figure out that bug before we went to production with it. Date field. We were dealing with this. Now the question is, should this display two numbers? Like if I type 8, I guess, should it be 8 or should it be 18? Or, I'm sorry, should it be 8 or should it be 08? I guess minutes do. But I think it's just how US formatting works. But I don't know if I like it or not. Two digits. Ollie, where are you from? Are you from the US? If not, you have bias. Yeah, you have bias. Let's see what it looks like for you, actually, Ollie. Okay, so it does do 2 for UKs. Actually, maybe it's just America that has to do weirdos, huh? Yeah, literally everywhere else. Except 00. This kind of looks awkward as hell, right? I'm not sure I like that. Okay, this is severely painful looking at some of this code. I need to like refactor a lot of it. A lot of the logic is pretty shared. And I also kind of have been considering implementing a state machine to handle this because, yeah, Gian, this is basically just that. When I designed this, I tried to like literally compare this to theirs. Now theirs is like, I can't even read their code because they have so many packages and so many, I mean, I can read it. They have so many packages, so many like, so much composition happening. It's really hard to follow. Yo, Roby, take care. I'm happy to do so. But yeah, this is, I like this a lot so far. It's going along. Hey, good night, Ollie. Take care. Hopefully tomorrow you'll have your double digits hours. Okay, so I mean, I guess basically we can do the same thing. So this is why I'm thinking about a state machine, because there's just so many little things that we're keeping track of here. Like we're seeing if it's left focus, which, you know, because if it's left focus, if the user's left focus, then we want to treat it as if they're starting over. So if they leave the year, when they come back and they start typing something that isn't a backspace, then in my head, at least, since it's fully populated, we're starting again. So now I'm doing 2020. Okay, if I do a backspace, different situation. Now we're just gonna append whatever the new value is to that. And then since we can't strictly rely on the formatter because it doesn't produce leading zeros, for things like the month and day, we have all of this stuff. So basically with the max start, which is the highest digits that field should be able to start with. So in the case of months, it's obviously gonna be 1 because there's not 20 plus months, right? And so if they enter, for example, a 3 or a 4 or a 5, anything from 2 to 9, we know they're not trying to do the 91st month. So we can just go ahead and say, okay, you entered a 9th month, go about our business. They can also do 09, but it is very nice to be able to just type 8, 7, whatever. Same thing with months. And what's really interesting is that since it knows the date, well, actually, that's actually going to be a problem. That's going to be an issue. So by default, like I mentioned, it uses the placeholder. So within a leap year, like if someone's birthday falls in a leap year and this year is not a leap year, they wouldn't be able to enter that date. Let's just verify that. Intercalary or bisextile year? And it's always in February, right? February has 29 days. So everyone who's born on February 29th just gets a birthday like once every, what, 3-4 years? Almost every 4th year is leap year. So like this year's not one, I don't think, right? So we go to our calendar here. If your birthday is... Wait, I'm still in the UK, I think, aren't I? No, I'm not. Okay. Back in my home format. Okay, so our birthday is February 29th. Okay, that works. Wait, is there 20? Is this year a leap year? Oh, it is. Jesus. Okay, of course. Of course this is a leap year. Okay, so for example, let's set the placeholder date. This is fine. Okay, so we see the placeholder this. It should start us off in February, right? So we're February. But if I enter 29 of this year, because it falls in a year that doesn't have a leap year, like if this was 2023 or if this was 2025, if someone's using this component, this would be a major bug. Question is, how the hell do we handle that? A prop? Because I can see this being really annoying for somebody. If my birthday was February 29th and I couldn't type it in on a damn field. What do you all think? Because I guess like what would that prop even be? Like leap year? And we just set it to like some known year that had a leap year? Like it's slightly kind of error prone a little bit. They're used to it. Screw them. Screw them. Yeah, no, it's definitely interesting because it kind of messes with the whole fundamental underlying idea of these fields. And I feel like just documenting it, saying, hey, if this is going to be a birthday, I mean, really, it's also kind of a flaw with this because, again, if they actually were born on that day, if they move the year to 2023 or 2024, sorry, because I know why. They haven't finished filling in the date. Okay, I guess in this situation, it would only, in a birthday situation, it would only be 3. It's such a hard, but now it lets you get up to 29. 2025, 28 days. Like, is that an actual problem? Maybe I'll just add like something to the docs, and just say, hey, like if you're gonna do like a birthday field, and I should probably do the same on bits demo, considering it says birthday. Okay, so I guess it isn't too much of a tragedy. We do have a way around it. That's important. Because like the big thing is, okay, if something doesn't work right, I would like it to be able to be worked around with just a little bit of userland stuff, not too much. But if we had to uplift somehow the placeholder, that would cause some serious pain inside of the code base. Okay, so for months, I guess we can treat hours the same way. The problem is, okay, so right now how the hour fields work is like, even though I'm in US locale, I can type 1500 and it's going to refactor to 3. I don't know if that's intuitive or not. But like, if you were expecting 3, if you were expecting US, then you wouldn't type 15. If I do 18, it's going to be 6. And what's really cool is if we actually have a full date populated and I do 06, it's going to be 6 a.m. If I do 18, it's going to flip it to PM. Yeah, dates are actually a metric pain in the ass. Since we have time zones, localization, like just I mean, we are pretty close. Pretty close to being there with this. I'm happy with the improvements. Except there's a bug here. Yeah, it's like every time I fix something, I just find like something else that's small, like this now. When the date's fully populated, I can't completely destroy the year. And so we have like all these conditionals, all of the states that we're tracking. And I just feel like maybe a state machine would be better here for this. Because like we have last key 0. Like if the last key was a 0, we treat it a little bit differently. Like we don't announce the 0 because again, it's not actually part of the day. Unless it's a trailing 0. If it's a leading 0, it's not. 0, 1, and 1 are the same thing. So why is backspace, when we backspace the year, it doesn't want to clear it? But if I backspace this, it does. Okay, so that's an issue on our end over here. Likely in our backspace logic here. Okay, if prev is null, we move to prev. Oh, you mean manually, as if like they just type it in whatever they want, however they want? Wait, what the hell? Hello? Oh. Oh yeah, this, yeah, for sure. We can give you time zones too, so you can have like absolute. It's up to you to decide however you want to set it up. It can be an absolute point in time. It can be relative to the time zone. Okay, so oh, this is gonna be annoying. Because right now I'm prepending zeros. Like if we look, like we prepend the year zeros to it, and that's kind of how we're getting around the idea of being able to do, if I wanted to do the year 20, for example, 0020. Now I'm here. But there's still an issue with this because it should have moved me to the next segment because I typed 4 times. Okay, so what happens is I up this segment, right? We go, what's annoying about using the same damn names is I can't easily control F update. I can, but since I have $sign update segment 2, so within year, so this next here is the callback that we're calling down in the actual component itself. We're passing pval, which is the previous value. Okay. What happens is it sets this new segment values. And then if all segments are filled, it then goes and gets the value from the segments And that's whenever it actually updates the value. So we're setting the value here. This just updates the value. But what this also does is we have to, so we have two-way binding with value. We have to also track it. If the user was to, of the component was to update the value from outside of it, we need to update the segments to reflect that new value. And an example of that. Actually, we won't do this. We'll just have a button here. Value equals V. So these are like the programmatic or outside of the component updates. So when we set that, since we didn't actually set a time, okay, that's also an issue, I think. I think it should still populate the time. So yeah, there's still a bit of work to do on this date field, but like if you told me this is 2,000 to 3,000 lines of code, I would probably claim you're absolutely insane. This little input here. Yeah, so that's the idea. But what happens is when we do that internally, we still have, we're watching the value either way, right? I guess we could have some type of state that determines if it's been updated locally or not. Yeah, basically when this value changes, we sync the segment values to that value. And then what that does is reads the value. And since the value can't have leading zeros, like it wouldn't actually have leading zeros in the value. Like if I tried to do, I think if I try to do like 0, 4, 2, you can see octoliterals are not allowed. So I have to do this, which explains why our zeros keep coming back, because we're actually still wait. Why is that null? Like I know why it's null there, but here it shouldn't be. Yeah, I know that is probably true. Uh, the hell is going on here? So what's interesting about this, it's not production ready yet, Daniel. It's in a release candidate stage right now, so the APIs are stable for the most part, but there's still some bugs. Okay. What I think is happening here, I'm probably going to cause a bug here, but let's see. I'm going to confirm my suspicions. Suspicions confirmed. Okay, so yep, race condition happening there with that effect. Again, the effects will get you. Unfortunately, I don't think there's a really great way around this, because we need to be able to mutate the states ourselves, but then also when the value changes. But yeah, basically what was happening is before this was triggered, yeah, okay. So yeah, these were being set to null, because this is, I guess I could also make this, no, I need to wait. So basically I need to wait for this to finish updating. I guess we could do something like this too. God, this feels so shitty. Hold on. I just worry about putting it in a timeout, like putting a small timeout there, because it just feels like it's going to be inconsistent. Let me try something actually. I don't know if this is gonna work. It does. Okay, so yeah, basically what was happening was this effect, whoops, this effect was running after whatever we were doing finished, right? So down here, we're calling set value, which sets the value, which then triggers that effect, right? But immediately here, we were setting all those values to null for all of the state that tells the value updates what to do. Like, hey, don't add zeros or whatever to this, because we're in the middle of updating it. It was setting them to null before it actually even got to this get value from segments function. Which then caused it to basically ignore it. So instead, what we do is once we update it in that effect, because the only thing we care about tracking these different updating states is this sync segment values function. And we have this here so it runs on the server side as well. So it SSRs the value, because if you just put it in effect, it'll only run on the client side. But we only care about it tracking these states in here, and only for the previous iteration of it. So it clears it after it's done running, and this all happens in the same batch, so we don't have this race condition issue. I think this is going to work fine. Yeah, so now we can actually delete all of these like this. And I do want it to kick out like that and throw zeros when they're typing. But when they backspace, I don't. And it does move forward to the next one. Now, something else that I care about for user experience is this is going to be very rare, but it's just like the little details that I feel like make a difference. So right now, let's say I want to refer to the year 900. I type 0900. I now have a fully complete date in my head, but I'm still here. I haven't been moved forward to the next segment like I would have if I typed in 2020. So I guess what we could do is we could track the like zeros that are pressed before to know if they've hit 4 characters or not. And then I guess but the problem is the minimum value is 1. We don't have AD, and there's a few other things we can add to this, but I'm not adding them right now because it's going to be a bit much. Hit any history websites out there, I'm really sorry for that, but which even still, I think it would still be 1 because there's no such thing as 0. Is there? It's like 1 BC or 1, whatever the different times are. So I guess we can track the like number of zeros that have been pressed for the year. To determine if maybe rather than zeros, we just track like keystrokes that aren't backspaces. And then we have to reset it though when it moves on. Maybe that does make sense. Shit, but backspacing is going to be annoying. Let's just try it. Absolutely funny news. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I guess it depends on what. Like, if we're talking about like a very simple to-do app, no, I think it makes it a little bit more complicated. But anything larger than like a website, absolutely. Like, especially when you start dealing with like complex filtering logic and stuff. Trying to handle that all in stores or inside of a component is quite annoying. On top of that, like the deep reactivity we don't have that we have now. I feel like it just gives you more flexibility. Like it just gives you more expression in a way. Svelte 5 does. Lets you express yourself. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I don't do any logic inside of the component files themselves. Like I get state from this file here, and then everything is just passed on to it. I handle all the context here. I handle all the reactivity here. The reason I like this is because I hate jumping around from like component file to component file to try to track down context, or I like to just kind of exist in a file or two. Although this file is getting a bit hefty. I'd probably end up moving. I'm probably gonna like split this up. But I'm pretty sure that I can reuse a lot of the logic between like the seconds, minutes, hours. But I don't want to start abstracting away too early, or I'm gonna put myself into like a corner. Okay, so for this year thing, right? What we want to do is when a user types 0001, did I type a 2 on accident? 0001. Okay. When they type that, I want them to be moved on to the next segment, just like the other ones work. And so to do that, we need to keep track of how many keys they've pressed. But then when they move focus away, we're going to reset that. So when they come back, it's like they're starting anew. If they backspace twice, we already have that logic covered. Okay, so it's really just the initial okay, so basically on every key down here, we're going to do that, right? So we'll say pressed keys. And I don't really think we even need to keep the actual keys in there. You probably should like a counter. But for now, let's just keep it at this. Okay. So we're pushing that. Now before if move to next, I guess you can say if pressed. I think you could probably make this like derived, but I don't really know if it's necessary. Okay, and then we move the next segment. We focus out. Let me clear this. Zero, 0, boom. Beautiful. Okay, I don't know if that's how it worked before. Oh yeah. Okay, that's not right. Why do you go to a 4? Oh, wait, because I backspaced the 8. But it should be 0. Well, I guess in this case, it should be 004. Ah, sigh. Why do you become 4, my friend? What's up, Mr. Random? Why do you become 4? Shit. Oh, because I'm parsing int. Okay, because I'm parsing the int. It removes the 8. Yes, sir. It sure is. I'm getting ready for it. I'm trying to, at least. We're getting close. Okay. Yeah, so I'm parsing the int here, which I don't think I should be doing. I think I should slice the string. Okay, damn it. That's not what I want. I don't want this to happen, right? Because then it ends up, I want it to just, when they backspace, I want it to stay exactly as it is. So if it's 0048, backspace, I want it to be 004. So they could potentially replace it with a 9. They can still technically do so, but it doesn't feel as intuitive. In my head, when this happens, I feel like I need to like, no, I don't want that. I want a backspace. And then I end up backspacing all the way back. So, that's an issue with the prepend leading zeros. But that's also happening in the Is it though? Shouldn't be. I'm already console logging that. Okay, so 004248 backspace. Um, Oh. It's this right here. Do I need to do this in here though? I do. But the problem is, I feel like I shouldn't do this in here. Caleb, yeah, it's required. It was basically, I was a bit upset at first when I realized that, but it makes a lot of sense when you consider the fact that they would have to look at your entire, look at the entirety of all of your code and all of your dependencies, every TS and JS file. Whereas now they only have to, the compiler only has to check the dependencies and your code's .svelte.ts or .js files. But it is also kind of nice for organization, so you can kind of keep, so you know where things are happening. But only if you want to actually use the runes inside of them. Yeah, of course. Okay, so I'm pretty sure this is our culprit here, guys. What's interesting though is that when I backspace, it has the appropriate values. Like that. Shit. No, it doesn't. Okay. It only has the backspace if it doesn't start with a 0. Because that's what this condition here. If it starts with 0, then we do this. Which is necessary whenever we're not editing. Right? Because what's happening is this is getting the formatted year. Actually, this might break things. Let's see. Why did you just do that? Hold on, let's see. Okay, now here we are at this point where now so when a user types in 0049, right? They come back, they're like, whoops, I'm at 48. They backspace, they add an 8. It should take them to the next segment. Question is, I guess we can, I guess that should be not too difficult. Okay, so what's happening here, right? We're updating gear. The merged int is going to be 48 in this case, or right, 48 or 4. So we can just, and the merged int digits is gonna be like 2 or something. So if we do 0048, clear this, come back, backspace, type in a 7, we can see that our merged int digits is only 2. Right, so in this context, it's not aware that we backspaced. Sheesh, man, this is actually getting a bit annoying. I'm trying to think about what is like not a disgusting way to do this. I can obviously hack it and make it work. I'm trying to think of something that's more elegant. So we're tracking like 30 states here to get this thing to behave properly. Because ultimately I need to track how many keys I've backspaced, right? Because I guess it would be the same behavior would happen here too. Like if I had 0, 1, 1, 1, that, if I backspace 2 and I type 1, 1, we're still in the same pickle. So basically I need to determine how many times I backspaced. And the reason we have this logic set up is because like this merged int digits is 4 is because like most of the time someone's going to have this. They're going to have, you know, and this works when you're doing non-leading zeros. The problem is with the leading zeros. Because if we don't look for this, then because of the fact that when we do something like 4, 8, it starts to like we hit 4, 0. We hit 4 characters right away. Because I want to prefix whatever they have with, they just type in 9, 9. I'm sorry, if I type in 0, 0, whoops. Because we have that. Let me brute force this. This is gonna be really disgusting. Okay. Okay, this makes sense to me, I think. However, we reset the backspace count on focus outs as well as on number string being pressed. Actually, basically any key that's not a backspace key. As well as on focus out. What's up, artifacts? Okay, so come in here. I backspace once. My backspace count should be at 1 right now. Add one number. Shit, but I need to do that. I need to do that after I'm resetting the backspace count before I actually even evaluate it to see if to handle that, right? So that's wrong. I guess I could move some of these down. I guess I could flip-flop these. We'll figure that out later. This should get reset when we handle the segment navigation. So I'm actually going to ignore that because if you're on the left, on one of the far ends, you wouldn't actually navigate. So I think that'd be weird if it... Okay, so now we're checking if merged and digits are less than 4. This is where we prepend the zeros and we return because we're not at 4 yet. However, in this case, we basically want to determine if the merged int digits... Oh, shit, dude, that's gonna oh, this is gonna be really annoying because it's still the leading 0 in this description here, right? So we have 0098 and the user backspaces once. Segment contains 009. I guess maybe instead of doing the digits of the int, we do digits of the string, like how many characters of the string is. Because they cannot type higher than 9. So we're not too worried about them. Like, there's no way that someone could type. Yeah. I think that makes more sense here. So, if backspace count is greater than 0, actually, okay, I don't think that's quite what we want. Because basically we have to. I actually don't think we have to do this. We do have to do this. I think we can also check here if this dot press keys length equals 4, or this dot press keys dot length equals the backspace count. Oh. We do want to prepend the zeros. Wait. Yeah, we do want to prepend the zeros there. Still. I think. Boom, there we go. Okay. Okay, that was a bit messy, but so now if we type in 0, 1, 0, 0, we backspace, 4, 5. I don't really like how that 0, 1, 0, 0. Okay. Backspace once, backspace again. I don't like how it brings the 0 back. Oh, I've had my chat hidden. Okay. You all been quiet anyways. The 21 of you. What's up, everybody? Thanks for hanging out with me. I know this isn't probably the most exciting thing to watch, but it's necessary. Okay, so we have 100. Backspace once, backspace twice. We're now at 0, 1. Type of 4, I don't want it to prepend the zeros. I really only want to prepend the zeros if I'm already finished with the backspace count. I started this a couple days ago. No, it's been a minute. Oh, yeah, I forgot to show. We also have the navigation menu in Svelte 5 as well. 2 days ago, I started this. But again, it's important to note, most of this work I already did for Melt. So I spent probably 2 months or something like that working on these components for Melt. So I already have a lot of the context. I already have the code. It's just a matter of I'm improving upon it for Svelte 5. And these are like the little things I'm doing here, the little UX things, which are very, very, very like just so minor, but I think they make a big difference. Okay. That's an issue because we're not... No, not yet. I mean, I think you can use it, but it's not rewritten for Svelte 5 yet. Okay, so 0, 0. It's gonna trigger me right now. So 0, 1, 0, 0. Okay, I backspace once, type a 1. It works. It goes to the next segment as expected. I backspace twice, type in a 1. I don't want that to happen. Why is that happening? It's happening when there's a discrepancy between the merged int, backspace count, and how many keys I've pressed. Okay, so in this case, merged int digits is always less than 4. Okay, so we start here. We do 0, 1, 0, 0. Merged int digits is actually going to be 3. We backspace once, it's going to be 2. So it's going to try to, when I press 1, it's going to prepend the difference between 4 and 3. It's going to be 1. Or I'm sorry, when I backspace twice. Now there's only 1 digit. So when I add another one, it's going to try to add 1 to make up for it. Oh, hold on. We did it. I still need to add tests for that. This is kind of so sloppy, man. Man, this is coming along nicely though. Wow, feels really nice. Feels much nicer than it did before, but at the expense of our sanity a bit. Okay, so let's write a couple tests here for this. I'm definitely gonna add more. Should handle backspacing. Okay, so hour has focus now. Now we're gonna go back. Keyboard, arrow left. Now we should be able to expect year to have focus. And then once year has focused, we're going to say await user.keyboard backspace 1. We'll expect year to have 009. Backspace, expected to have 0, 00. Have them press 8 and then 7. We'll expect year to have text content 0078, and we'll expect hour to rehab focus. Oops, Copilot screwed me over there. Nice. I know one thing I didn't check actually is if I don't finish the year, if I just do like 008, just do 78 backspace to the right. Erg. So in this case here, I feel like I would expect it to like finish it, right? Finish, add the rest of the zeros for me. 007. Okay, that's definitely an issue there. Okay. I don't know if you guys saw that, but I was able to see what's happening there. Why do you do that? Oh, I know what's happening. There's a bug right there, guys. Oh, this is such a So that's happening because string is becoming more than what it's supposed to be. Yeah, which makes sense because basically we weren't doing any checks on that string. So if a string had prefix zeros before, it'll re-add them, it adds them back in because we're just merging the two. We're not actually extracting out the int anymore. But this should keep us from going down that hole. Because what this will do is if it string has more than 4, then we should have exceeded that backspace count. Yeah. I can't reproduce this, so although it feels weird to be able to do this. Let me run the other test real quick. Then I'm probably going to call it a night. Stream for 3 hours, not bad. No. Oh yeah, it changed that logic. So in this case, like if we had 420 and I backspace before, what it would do is it would swap it to 02, which is why I started this endeavor. I didn't think that was great DX or UX, I should say. The backspace is 0. I meant to do 21. I shouldn't have to go, shouldn't show 0, 2, even though when they type a 1, it still would flip them over to 21. It just didn't feel right. So this actually needs to be updated to just 2. I don't know what the hell's going on with my terminal over here, but alrighty, folks, I'm going to call it a night. Thanks for hanging out with me. I know this wasn't the most exciting stream in the world, but this is what I do. It's what I enjoy. Hopefully, by the end of this weekend, I'll have this date field and the date range field. Like, once the date field is done, the date range field will be easy. And then once the calendar is done, the range calendar will be easy. And once those are done, the range pickers and date picker will be easy. And then I have, I think, like link preview, scroll area, which is going to be a pain in the ass, and slider, I think. Yeah, here's the navigation menu. This thing was actually, took me like a couple weeks to get right. Like 10 days or something. Something stupid. But yeah. So I'm excited to have this stuff finished. But I'm going to go, guys. Thank you all for hanging out. See you all next time.